Ever felt that deep, kind of desperate need for validation from a partner? A feeling so intense it can actually border on panic? Well, today, we're not just going to talk about it. We're going to break down the actual blueprint for emotional self-reliance. We're going to get into why this happens and, more importantly, how to rebuild your emotional core from the ground up.
So, let's just dive right in with this really powerful, almost stark idea. An unseen child creates a needy adult. This one sentence, it just gets right to the heart of it all, doesn't it? It suggests that something fundamental from our childhood, or maybe the lack of something, can directly wire our adult relationships for some serious turbulence.
Okay, so that brings us to the big question, right? If this wound is from way back then, why is our partner getting the brunt of it now? The core problem we're really going to deconstruct today is that exact dynamic. This unconscious habit of turning a romantic partner into a substitute parent, expecting them to fill a void they had absolutely nothing to do with creating. To really get why this happens, we've got to go back to the beginning, to what some experts call a crack in the foundation. And look, this isn't just a cool metaphor. It's a way of describing a very real feeling of internal, structural emptiness that a lot of people carry around without even realizing it.
Yeah, this slide really nails how our core identity gets built. When a child isn't truly seen, like really validated by a parent, the whole construction of their self just stops. It leaves the foundation of their being kind of porous, and what you end up with is an adult who looks totally fine on the outside, but inside they're basically walking around with this invisible umbilical cord, just searching, always searching, for someone to plug into to feel like they exist.
All right, so how does this emotional glitch in our software actually work? Like, what's going on under the hood? We can actually diagnose it by looking at three distinct but totally interconnected concepts that explain the mechanics behind this incredibly powerful need.
So the first piece of the puzzle comes from something called systemic work, which is all about how our family systems shape us. It's a pattern called the interrupted reaching out. Just picture it. A little kid reaches out for their mom, their source of life and safety. But if the mom is unavailable, maybe physically or just emotionally, the child feels this deep pain and learns a devastating lesson. Reaching out equals pain. Now, as an adult, that original need doesn't just disappear. It gets slapped right onto a partner, creating that intense fear of abandonment when they just need a little space.
Next up, we've got what you could call the mother filter interface. Think of your brain like a computer running some really old, buggy software. In this case, there's this corrupted file, a survival program from childhood, that's running in the background. It labels any caring or powerful person as a potential mother. So, when your partner is just, busy at work, this old filter misreads that totally neutral data as a full-blown catastrophe. Abandonment, danger, I'm gonna die! And boom, you get that rush of panic from a simple unanswered text. And this is where it gets really tragic, The paradox of the whole thing. This intense need creates what we can call an energetic vacuum. You think you're asking for love, but you're unconsciously broadcasting this frequency of take, take, take. And to other people, that feels really draining. It doesn't feel like an invitation to connect. It feels like a demand to be filled. And so, what do people do? They instinctively pull away, which only proves your deepest fear right. See, I knew it. Nobody actually wants me.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the faulty wiring, we get the glitch, so what's the fix? Well, you can't get from a partner what you missed from a parent. That's just a fact. But here's the good news, the really hopeful part. You can give it to yourself. This requires a whole new blueprint, a plan for rebuilding your own foundation from the inside out.
So, this is the plan. It's a three-step process for rebuilding. First up, the turn back. And this is huge. It's a mental exercise where you consciously turn away from your partner and look back at your parents. It's about finally accepting the hard truth of what they just couldn't give you and letting yourself really truly grieve that loss. Step 2, install an adult interface. This is all about actively upgrading your internal monologue from that child's thought of, I need you to exist, to the adult's powerful realization, I have myself. It's a fundamental shift in where your stability comes from. And step 3, self-nourishment. This is the daily practice. It's about generating your own safety. When you feel that urge to demand validation from someone else, you learn to turn inward, maybe place a hand on your own heart, and become your own source.
Okay, so that's the long-term game plan. But what about right now, in the heat of the moment, when your partner hasn't texted back and you feel that old familiar wave of panic starting to rise? For that, you need a practical, in-the-moment toolkit. We'll call it the autonomous reset.
So picture this, an alarm is just blaring inside your head. A trigger has been detected. Your rational brain has just checked out.
A systemic error has occurred, and that terrified, not-seen child has grabbed the controls and taken over the cockpit. And in that state, you can't think your way out of it. You have to act your way out.
So here it is, your emergency protocol. Step 1, pattern interrupt. You got to do something physical, right now. Put the phone down, shake your hands like crazy, stomp your feet, anything to break the trance. Step 2, reality check. Name the lie your brain is screaming at you. I'm being abandoned, and then you install the truth. This is silence, not danger. Step 3, and this is so key, the systemic U-turn. Instead of reaching out for your partner, you turn inward to that scared little part of you, and you become your own parent. You say, I am here, I will not leave you. And finally, step 4, restore coherence. Use deep, slow, controlled breathing to calm your nervous system and take back control of that cockpit.
Now, this protocol is super powerful, but look, it takes practice. To really make it stick, we need to install like a master code in our brains, a permanent command that can be an anchor for us and prevent those system crashes in the future.
And here it is. This is that master code. It's short, it's simple, but it is so powerful. But listen, this is not just some fluffy, feel-good affirmation. This is a systemic command. It's designed to correct your internal timeline and just break that panic loop before it can even get started.
So let's break down exactly why this little phrase works so well. First, the need is old. This is brilliant because it acknowledges the feeling, but it slaps a timestamp on it. It labels the panic as historical data, not something that's happening right now. It creates distance. Next, the safety is now. That's a direct command. It forces your brain to stop and scan your current environment for any actual threats, which, of course, it's not going to find. And finally, I am. Notice it's not I am loved or I am okay. It's just I am. It is the ultimate confirmation of your own sovereign existence, period.
And here are some really clever, practical ways to get this code installed in your life. You can actually turn that thing that causes so much anxiety, your phone, into your greatest ally. Make this phrase your lock screen. Change your chat wallpaper for the person who tends to trigger you. Or set a random alarm for some time during the day that just pops up and asks, are you standing in your own power?
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that once you do this work, once that crack in your foundation isn't running the show anymore, this incredible space just opens up in your life. The wound is no longer the focus. All that energy you spent looking for validation is now yours to command. You are totally free to become the architect of your own life. So the real question for you isn't about fixing what was broken. It's about what comes next. Your foundation is repaired. What are you going to build on it?